Hello there, YouTube. I am Necrostevo. You know what? Hello there, YouTube. I am Necrostevo, and thank you for joining me here for PPL Season 5, Week number 7. This week, our opponent is none other than the illustrious Onesie Bennett, one of our long-term rivals here in the Pokemon Premier League. I have videos on my channel dating back over 10 years ago with battles against Onesie on the 3DS, back when he was the AS Monferno. So shoutouts to Onesie. Always a pleasure to see you on the battlefield. And always a pleasure to see Red.
The blood of angry men!
You know, steeped in the shadows. No big deal. Today we face Onesie though, so let's take a look at his team and what the Solihull Skarmoors are bringing to battle against the shadows. Onesie has Greninja, Dragonite, Ogerpon that can terrestrialize. This is the teal form of Ogerpon. Okidogi that can also Terra. Skarmoor, Gardevoir, Blastoise, Sandy Shocks, Dunsparce, Arcanine, terrestrializing Trevenant, and Cranidos, because he has that helmet on. Now, what would the Shadows possibly bring against a team as powerful as this? With the ever-present threat of Greninja being able to do Battle Bond, also very worried about Choice Banded Arcanine hits, and Sandy Shocks even coming with like a booster speed and outrunning the whole team, we definitely wanted to make sure that we were properly prepared going into this battle. For this match, I have a little bit of a weird Pokemon that I will be leading with 100% of the time, and that is my Ribombee. Ribombee is finally coming off the bench here in week 7 out of 9 in the Pokemon Premier League. Ribombee is actually going to be strapping on his Rocky helmet for this week. Most people, when they see a Ribombee, will think that it is Focus Sash, even more so when it's in the lead slot. And so I'm hoping that the Rocky helmet will be a way to break sashes on maybe a U-turning Greninja, or break the Dragonite's multi-scale, or even break the Skarmoor's sturdy if needed. On Ribombee, we have Quiver Dance, Bug Buzz, Moonblast, and Sticky Web. So here is where my team is going to be kind of split down the middle. Sticky Web is an entry hazard, of course. If I set it up, then any of my opponent's grounded Pokemon that touch it will lose 1 level of speed. That can make it easier for things like my other Pokemon, like Baxcalibur, here running Life Orb and Swords Dance with Ice Shard, Glaive Rush, and Thunder Fang to outspeed things. Baxcalibur naturally outspeeds the Dragonite though, and I have enough speed here just to outrun his base 80s, which include the Dragonite and the Okidogi and the Gardevoir. So I put the rest into bulk, and I went Life Orb here because I did figure that I would need to switch moves and go for the Ice Shard at some point. We need to keep Baxcalibur in the back as long as the Dragonite is alive. So Baxcalibur, I am not planning on having it hit the field too early like last week. After that, we have our Choice Scarf Tornadus. Bringing Choice Scarf Tornadus here just for a little bit of speed control. Choice Scarf Tornadus will help me in case I need the emergency button. In the event that the Greninja gets the Battle Bond, which of course if Greninja gets a knockout, then Battle Bond activates and raises his attack, special attack, and speed all in one stage. So I wanted to be able to cover for that because I'm already faster, and so if I have the Choice Scarf, I will still be faster. We did put Chilling Water on our Tornado this week, just in the event that I need to knock out the Arcanine in an emergency situation, because Bleak Wind Storm and Heat Wave will not do anything to the Arcanine. After that, we have our Corrosion Glimora. In this battle, I was anticipating throwing off a Toxic or two, thinking that Skarmoor or the Okidogi before it Terra'd might be the recipients of said Toxic. We have Sludge Wave, Stealth Rock, Mortal Spin, and Toxic on this one. This one has enough speed just for, again, base 80s. But then after that, I put the rest in all HP and defensive bulk to make it really bulky this week. The two things that I think are going to be doing a lot of heavy lifting in this battle are our Terra Electric Necrozma. Necrozma has Meteor Beam with the Power Herb this week, Photon Geyser, Charge Beam, and Trick Room. And it's fully trained in HP and special attack with 4 speed EVs, just in case Blastoise tries to creep an uninvested Necrozma. Necrozma here is going to be kind of just coming in to do as much damage as possible and then go down. It is not here for the long time, but it is here for a big bang kind of time. And our final Pokemon, Bellibolt here. Max HP, max defense, Rocky Helmet on this one too, Volt Switch, Muddy Water, Light Screen, and Slack Off. I have the same set on this as last week, but it has a slightly different set. Not last week, the week before. But here, we're just going to go with the max physical defense and then use Light Screen to help offset some of that special damage. Once again, though, Rocky Helmet is there to hopefully break some sashes, sturdy, whatever is going on one side of the field. So, thank you all for watching the team builder. I appreciate your patience. And it is now time for us to get into the battle. Alrighty then, we can see for this matchup that Alex has elected to bring his Greninja, his Hisuian Arcanine, Dragonite, the Gardevoir, the Dunsparce, and the Blastoise. That's right, he didn't bring any of his Terra Captains, whereas I have 2 for this battle, so I have 1 for the both of us here. Now you see me start to lead off with Tornadus there, and that's because he actually didn't bring the team that I expected him to bring. I definitely foresaw the Skarmoor, the Okidogi, and the Ogerpon coming here. To a lesser extent, the Sandy Shocks. I did see Greninja, Dragonite, and Gardevoir coming here. But yeah, I do switch it up and I decide to go with my dedicated lead here. He can spin away my entry hazards with Blastoise, which would be very annoying. However, even forcing the spin might be beneficial here because I can take advantage of that turn. He leads off with Blastoise and I lead with my little buddy Ribombee coming off the bench for the first time this season. Good luck, Alex. Let us do this. Now he switches out immediately and I'm hoping that my Gambit has worked out and that he's expecting me to be Focus Sash, which means Sticky Webs go up on his side of the field and he brings in his Hisuian Arcanine. Now, I do not really want any extra damage from Ribombee at this point. I will die to any one move from the Hisuian Arcanine. And so we're just going to go straight out to our physically defensive Bellibolt here. Bellibolt hits the field, and I did put static on it, so I was hoping for a static proc. He takes some Rocky Helmet recoil, but he is Rockhead, so he does not take recoil from his own attack there. No static, but that's okay. We are just going to slack off because the Rocky Helmet is doing the job of slowly chipping down the Arcanine. We get the static this time, and I honestly expected him to swap out, not wanting to risk the static and not wanting to continue to take Rocky Helmet chip. But I was like, oh, well, he stayed in this time, so surely he's going to swap out this next time here, right? So I decide to click Volt Switch on the secondary time here, but he goes for Head Smash again. So just straight up head banging here, this Arcanine. I want to know what tunes the Arcanine is listening to. Here. Arcanine is very low on its HP, and if I get up Stealth Rocks, that will be the end of the Arcanine. since it's paralyzed, I considered going out to my Glamora right there, but I was like, I don't really want to take all that damage. He could just head smash the Glamora and do a ton of damage to me. So we're actually going to go out into Necrozma. Now again, here Necrozma Terra Electric is here to just do as much damage as possible. There is a chance here that I take a bunch of extra damage, but he does have to go for extreme speed, which with max HP investment on my side, he's not choice banded if he swaps it. And he does get paralyzed, which I am very thankful for. That means that I don't have to take any extra chip. But him outspeeding Necrozma on the paralysis tick shows that he did try to go for the extreme speed. So that means that my Necrozma gets to take out the Arcanine and remain at full HP. After the Arcanine, Greninja comes back. And I was like, well, hello there, Greninja. What are you going to do to me? If I Terra Electric, Greninja cannot really do super effective damage unless he goes for Mud Shot, which I really wasn't expecting him to have here. And even if he does go for the Mud Shot, that won't do that much damage, and it will lower my speed, and that will prompt me to set up a Trick Room if he does do that. He just goes for U-turn. It does very negligible damage. We do also notice that the Greninja does not get affected by the Sticky Web. So that means Greninja is heavy duty boots, and so my Tornadus will continue to outspeed it no matter what. After he U-turns though, I took the turn to go for Charge Beam as he brings in this horse, the Dunsparce.
A horse is a horse, of course.
Peter, the horse is here.
The Dunsparce is affected by the Sticky Web. Charge Beam has a 50% chance to raise the user's special attack, and we do nab that here. And now we see the leftovers on the Dunsparce, and after seeing the Charge Beam damage, he cannot take a Meteor Beam. And so it is time to call on the power of the cosmos itself and finally click Meteor Beam in one of these battles. Power Herb will fill me with space power immediately and allow me to summon.
Escucha las palabras de las brujas, los secretos escondidos en la noche.
Meteor, the calamity from the skies, channeled through my very own Necrozma here. Goodbye to Dunsparce. No chance in living that, and now my Necrozma is +2 special attack here. On the downside though, now that Necrozma has taken a little bit of chip and the jig is up, I have used up my Power Herb, we have to face down this Gardevoir, and I wasn't really sure what Gardevoir wanted to do. I did see that it got affected by the Sticky Web. However, if Gardevoir happened to be Choice Scarf, then it would outspeed me still. I have a very weird speed on Necrozma, where it's fast enough to outspeed a Blastoise, but it's slower than everything else, so that way if I set up the Trick Room, I'm generally going to be outslowing Pokemon. Moonblast does a ton of damage. Here I just went for Photon Geyser because I wasn't sure what to expect from the Gardevoir, and you can see that Moonblast does over half, and so does my Photon Geyser. I could have gone for Trick Room right there, but ultimately that might not have benefited me as much. Here, thinking that Gardevoir might be locked into Moonblast, I go out into my Glamora. Unfortunately, he gets a special attack drop with his Gardevoir, but that is also kind of justice for the static proc earlier there. And the other thing that's nice is that I don't necessarily need my special attack because I'm just going to go for Toxic, expecting the Blastoise to want to come in and try to get rid of these entry hazards. I could have gone for Stealth Rock, but I didn't want to let the Blastoise come in for free, and with my special attack lowered, I would only do like 15 to maybe 30% max if I went for Sludge Wave from this range. The good thing about Blastoise coming in though, is that if he's going to try to Rapid Spin, if he does not Rapid Spin, then my Necrozma is going to be faster and I can do something else with it. If he does Rapid Spin, there's also a chance my Necrozma can live what move he goes for, barring Dark Pulse, just because I have max HP investment. He does go for Rapid Spin, so that means that he's faster. And so here I was like, should I click the Trick Room? Because he's faster with this now too. And he is on the timer, so he might swap out to something. The other thing I could do here is just go straight for Photon Geyser. He goes for Body Press, which absolutely surprised me. I went for Photon Geyser here just to guarantee damage the Blastoise, and I really do wish I had clicked the Trick Room. Barring him having Aqua Jet, he would have taken the extra tick from Poison, and then maybe I could have gone for the Charge Beam to finish it off. And then I would have had 4 turns of my Necrozma being slower than anything that he had in the back. Now I do go for Trick Room here just in case he goes for something else and it doesn't KO. He decides to go for Flip Turn, and Necrozma, you have done beautifully, my friend. So thank you so much for what you've done in this battle, because now the Blastoise is at a critical amount of HP. He Flip Turns out and brings back in Gardevoir. Here I was really tempted to go into Baxcalibur, but remember, I need to keep the Baxcalibur alive and in the back until the Dragonite comes out. Otherwise, I can get reverse swept in the endgame or something weird. But Baxcalibur technically can do anywhere from like 45% damage with the Ice Shard Life Orb. But if he's any bulk at all, it won't kill. So I do go out to my Tornadus, and that does unfortunately give the Gardevoir Regenerator. I don't mind that, because as long as I'm able to keep the Gardevoir whittled down, then I can still work with it. And I might even be able to throw a Toxic on it later on to offset that too. Now here, Alex does surprise me, and he goes out to the Dragonite directly. And so I was like, great, I hit the Bleak Wind Storm, so I get to break that multi-scale ability. If Dragonite is at full HP, then any attack that it gets hit by will only do half of the damage that it would otherwise do. So we're going to swap out now, expecting him to maybe go for Dragon Dance or Ice Spinner. I didn't want him to be able to do anything for free. So I go out to Belly Bolt, and he does go for Ice Spinner, and Belly Bolt survives and gets another paralysis. Belly Bolt, my man.
I am no man.
Man, all right. Or actually, I think Surge is a girl. Now that I'm thinking about it, it was on the screen and I looked away to think about that. But that was great. Belly Bolt, you have 3 HP. You deserve to relax just a little bit. Let's get you back some more HP, buddy. We're gonna click Slack off here. I was very tempted to go for Volt Switch, expecting him to want to switch out there. However, I saw an opportunity here. I was really worried about letting the Greninja in to annoy my team. And I was like, if he's Scarf Max Special Attack Timid, I think it's a roll for him to KO me from here. So we're gonna go for Light Screen and see what he locks into. And he does just lock into Moonblast, and he takes me back down to 3 HP. I was just at 3 HP. And apparently that's where you're going to stay, Belly Bolt. We get up our Light Screen, and since I know that he is locked in on Moonblast, we're gonna go out to Glimmora. This allows me a couple of different things. Number one, he does take the opportunity to switch as I'm switching. He goes out to Blastoise, I go out to my Glimmora. But because the Light Screen is up, I know I'm not afraid of anything, and now he no longer has the Rapid Spin backing him up, and so my Glimmora will be faster than this Blastoise for sure, unless he's like a max speed Blastoise or something like that. Here I do just go for Sludge Wave. I was thinking about going for the Stealth Rock, but I figured that the Dragonite probably had heavy duty boots anyway, and I already broke the multi-scale on it. So I decided to just go ahead and take that KO so that my Light Screen is useful against the Greninja. I don't have Light Clay. I have the Rocky Helmet on my Belly Bolt, so I only get 5 turns of Light Screen here. I am hoping that he's going to go out to the Greninja at this point in the battle though, because we are kind of in the end game here. I still have my Tornadus and my Baxcalibur at full health. I have Belly Bolt with 3 HP, and he has available his Dragonite that's paralyzed at about half HP, a full HP Greninja, the Gardevoir, which will be around 60 HP when it comes back in, but it's Choice Scarfed. Everything else is KO'd. So Greninja comes in here, and I was thinking that he actually might have spikes, and so I went for Mortal Spin. Greninja's naturally faster, so if he went for spikes to transform and resist my Sludge Wave, not only would that help me get rid of his spikes, but it will also help me apply poison to help me whittle him down, kind of as things are going. I might have overthought that, but he does just go for a Surf. The other thing too, I said all that, but in the battle, we already know that he's not Protean, so I don't know why I was thinking about it that way. Either way, if he had set up the spikes, I wanted to get rid of them in case I needed to bring in Belly Bolt. I don't want Belly Bolt getting KO'd by spikes. Sludge Wave, though, if I had just gone for 2 Sludge Waves, that would have finished off the Greninja. But I'm very okay with this situation because of Belly Bolt's light screen. My Glimmora was able to live 2 surfs from that range thanks to the Citrus Berry as well. So that really felt good to have that happen because that meant that the max HP investment really paid off here. Being invested in physical defense helped against something, I'm not sure what, but that also means that the Greninja goes down, they go down at the same time. You know what that means? It's a double down after he gets his battle bond and he, you know, taps into the power of Alex and then passes out. But double down, we have a double down. You all know how much I love double downs. Just 2 Pokemon slumping against each other in the sheer will of battle. Just double downs. Oh man, I get so hype when double downs happen. Anyways, Tornadus is what I choose to go out to after the double down. And he goes out to the Gardevoir, and I was like, oh my gosh, if he clicks Healing Wish, I'm going to be so annoyed. Yeah. I really wish I had Sludge Bomb, because I could have just killed the Gardevoir right here. But the best thing I have to hit it with is the Bleak Wind Storm, and it's just not enough damage after the Gardevoir got the Regenerator and swapped out last time. So I was like, this is what happened against Amber. Got down to the last 2 Pokemon. Here comes the Healing Wish. And then here comes the freaking Dragonite. So Alex played this really well. Because with everything that's happened in this battle, if this Dragonite gets like 2 Dragon Dances, that's curtains. As long as it's at full HP, it can live an Ice Shard because of the multi-scale from my Baxcalibur. So we're in a little bit of a game of, I guess chicken?
It's called tweeting.
I guess I'm looking at these 2 winged creatures. Not really chicken, but what's going to happen first? Am I going to miss a Bleak Wind Storm and he's going to roost and get back up to his max HP? Or, like I just did there, I got a speed drop. So he really needs 2 more of those if he wants to outspeed my Tornadus. Now here he does roost back up once, but if I miss a Bleak Wind Storm, we're gonna have to do something different. And what do you know? I spoke it as it happened, and I missed that Bleak Wind Storm. So he's able to get back up to full HP. And this is why we put a helmet on our little soldier.
I've got Cool Ranch and barbecue.
So little Puff Daddy, the Ribombee, soldiers, let's go. Okay, it is time for you to do your thing, because Alex is going to expect you to be focus sashed, but you're not. You are my Ribombee. You are here under my purview, and I have brought you off of the bench for one purpose, and that is to make sure that this Dragonite does not have multi-scale intact. Yes, we could have done this with Belly Bolt. This is not about Belly Bolt. This is about Ribombee coming and showing what a bee can do. Bees are very important. Everyone deserves bees. You deserve bees. Alex deserves bees. Unless it's the winter, then let them sleep.
You like jazz?
Ribombee goes down to the Ice Spinner, but the Rocky Helmet breaks the Dragonite's multi-scale, and that means that Baxcalibur can come in here and KO it immediately with an Ice Shard. Oh, thank you, Ribombee, for affording us that opportunity. That really could have gone any other way as well, because if he had Earthquake, for example, that would not be a contact move, and so he could have Earthquaked the Belly Bolt and finished it off without touching it. So yeah, I had to do it on that turn, and it had to be Ribombee in the back there. So thank you, Alex, for the battle. Always a pleasure, sir, to get a little bit of revenge for you bringing a Torchic against me and styling on me the last time we battled. But man, that battle right there was really good because that kind of brings us back into contention here. So now we are 3-4 for the season, and I believe our differential is -8. But there are, I believe, 2 other teams that are 3-4 with higher differentials than us. So if any of them lose and we win the last two season battles, then we could absolutely still be in playoff contention, which I would like. I'm also in the playoffs right now of another league that I will be uploading after this one. But it actually feels cool to make it to playoffs. My goal with these leagues is often to just kind of come and have fun. But I have more fun when I win. So we will be aiming for playoffs. Oh man. It is time for another chapter of NecroLore. You all have been enjoying the stories at the end of these videos. And so I would be remiss to not give you what you're here for. Now, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about this week. Let me look at I made a list here of different stories. And I am just going to say,
Okay. Somebody call it this time.
You remember the rules. Heads I win, tails you lose.
okay, Google, pick a number between 1 and 10.
Here's a random number, 8.
All right, story number 8 has been selected from my list. And that is the story of last year when I dislocated my shoulder. Now, in last week's NecroLore, we learned I was a very busy child. Lots of extracurricular activities. Often those were chosen by my parents. And as an adult, I have learned nothing. I am involved in so many different aspects at work. And one of those aspects is going to the corporate challenge. Each year, many different corporations send their employees to this gigantic racetrack stadium over here where I live. And the idea is it raises money for these different things and blah, 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 and camaraderie and teamwork and blah, 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 all those types of things. I like it because you can go and get a bunch of free food. There's free beer. And although it is quite sunny, it happens in the middle of summer. But it's a good time. I normally sign up for the obstacle course, basketball shootout, soccer shootout, dodgeball, tug of war, the 5K. Those are the ones that I normally do. I think I did the Frisbee challenge last year as well. But yeah, you know, even though I'm 30 or 40 years old, I still try to stay active. So this year, last year, 2024, at the corporate challenge, I went to do my run in the obstacle course, which the obstacle course is made up of basically a whole bunch of different physical fitness things back to back to back to back to back, like crossing on the little handlebar things, or you have to flip a tire, or you have to army crawl underneath a thing, you know, things like that. And so I go through the first few parts of the situation, and then I get to the jumping through the concentric tires, where they're just on the ground. You have to like step in each one. And the very first one that I stepped on, it was slippery because this takes place pretty early in the morning. And I fell like face first into the tires. And at the time, I was like, oh man, that was a hard fall. Anyways, getting up and getting back to it. And so I get back up and I finish the obstacle course. I do the army crawl afterwards. There's like a little puzzle thing you have to solve with your teammates. And then we finish it. We earn our points for the obstacle course and we move along. After that, I was like, huh, that's weird. My shoulder freaking hurts. And so I went back to our little tent and I was just drinking a Powerade or something. And I was like, oh man, it does not feel good. Did I like fall on it weird? I don't know. Anyways, let's go do the basketball shootout. And so I go to the basketball shootout. I did not know that my shoulder was dislocated exactly at this point. The proper thing to do, similarly to when I'm doing these battles, you know, we reflect on the battle, we watch it back. What could we have done better? I should have sought medical attention. But for me, if it's not like searing, blistering pain, I'm probably not going to just like stop what I'm doing. It was at about like a 3 of discomfort on my pain scale at this point. I do the basketball shootout and I'm like, I am having like so much stiffness when I'm trying to shoot. There wasn't stiffness. My arm wasn't in this. Anyways, And so I finished the basketball shootout, and the pain is like increasing. It's like around a 4 now, honestly, for me. And it's like I'm losing range of motion. Like I'm not able to fully raise my hands up over my head like I've, been in the military or something. And so I was like, that's really weird. I'm just going to I'm going to ice my shoulder, drink a bunch of water, and get ready for the 5K. So I do that. And then it's time for the 5K. And for the 5K, you have to walk a or run or jog or whatever you want to do. I was going to jog, but my shoulder was hurting so bad. I was like, I think I'm just going to walk this one. And so here I am, just playing Pokemon Go with a dislocated shoulder while walking on a 5K. And as I'm walking, it's just like slowly the pain and the discomfort's like, okay, this is moving from a 5 to about a 6. This is uncomfortable. Like, what? I don't understand why this is hurting so much. And I've never dislocated a shoulder before. I've actually never broken a bone before, or like had any surgeries or anything like that. So it's a type of discomfort that I'm not really familiar with. It also doesn't help that I have a relatively high pain tolerance, so yeah. So I walk the entire 5K with the dislocated shoulder, get back to the tent, and I was like, all right, it's time to eat. But by the time I'm like, it's time to eat, it's creeping up to like a 7 in pain. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna take 5. And I end up sitting in the tent, and like one of the executives in the company walk up to me, and I meet him, and I'm like, I would shake your hand, but like I fell earlier and I'm having some issues. He's like, all right, well, thanks for coming. And he's like, you want a beer? And I was like, yes, please. And he grabbed me a beer, and I was just like drinking a beer, like having one arm down. I really felt like, what's a good example? I don't know. There's some like video game hero, like when they're like, the power is coursing through my dark arm, and they like have that thing where they're slumping forward. That's how I had to sit to have any sort of relief from the discomfort of how my arm was. Anytime I tried to sit up straight, like it would pull on it and hurt. So I was like, all right, screw this, I'm going home. So I drive home with a dislocated shoulder, and I walk in, and I told my girl, I was like, my shoulder is bucking, and she was like, are you okay? And I was like, if it's still hurting tomorrow, I guess I'll go to the urgent care, because it's like 1 in the afternoon now, so most urgent cares close at like 3. And she was like, no, go now. And I was like, I don't wanna, it's annoying. She's like, I'll drive you. I was like, you don't have to drive me, I'm sure it's not that big of a deal, I'll just drive myself, it'll be fine. So I drive to the urgent care. I get over there like an hour before they close, and they take me back, and they're like, so you definitely have a dislocated shoulder. And I was like, what? How do you know? And they're like, well, make this arm motion. And then I couldn't, and they're like, yeah, it's definitely dislocated. They tried to reset my shoulder. I'm the soldier. I'm the mightiest soldier. They tried to reset my shoulder there. Was not able to reset it. Unable to get it back into the socket. They're like, well, you should go to this other urgent care place. They close in like 35 minutes. But they specialize in this type of injury, so they should be able to help you there. And I was like, okay, cool. So I jump in the car, I drive myself 20 minutes to the other urgent care place. They close in 10 minutes. And I'm not normally that person who shows up when the place is about to close. But I was like, hey, they just called about me, and they said I should come over here before you guys close to see if you could help. And they're like, we can try. And so like 3 people are shoving on my shoulder and my arm and everything, trying to get it reset. I haven't had any pain management either. These people are just fucking me up, man. I was like, oh, so this is what like a 9 on my pain scale would feel like. This is actually pretty uncomfortable, I'm not gonna lie. And they push on it and try to reset it for like 10 minutes, and they're like, okay, we can't fix you, so you should go to the emergency room. And I was like, I don't want to go to the emergency room. We're in America. It's going to be like $1 million, man. Come on. And they were like, go to the emergency room, or we're going to call you an ambulance. And I was like, don't call it an ambulance. That's just a fancy Uber. I'm going to go and wait for my fiance to get here. And so she gets the Uber to me, so that way I don't have to drive myself to the emergency room. So we go to the stupid emergency room, and they hook me up to all this stuff, And they're like, well, we have to take more photos. And I was like, we already know it's dislocated. Can we just move along, please? Take more photos. Have more bullshit. The doctor's like, well, if you want, I can show you a way that you might be able to reset it yourself before we try anything else. And I was like, yes, please, because all I've had is people yanking on me and pushing on me for several hours at this point. He was like, all right, so you're going to put your hands together, kind of clasp your fingers together, and then he tied like a Velcro strap around my hands. And he was like, now I want you to put your hand over your knee, which kind of like pulled my shoulder forward. And he was like, now I want you to lean back. And he's like, this might hurt a lot, but the idea is that it will force your shoulder kind of back together. It will force your arm back into the socket. And so I did that. And when I tell you that internally, I had an internal noise. It sounded like flubber. Now flubber is older. So for younger people, if you look up flubber, it's like this little like jelly blob creature that's like green. It sounded like that, but inside of my body. Like I heard it go inside of my arm and my shoulder. And then right when that happened, my pain went from a 9 back down to like a 4, maybe a 3. Like it was immediate pain relief. And I was like, oh, something just like went all schloopy inside of me. Is that a good sign? He was like, oh, it sounds like you reset your arm. And I was like, okay, yeah, I can, it still hurts like a motherfucker, but I can move my arm now. And yeah, so I reset my own shoulder at the ER. Disclaimer, this whole entire thing would go on to cost thousands of dollars because every place I went to charged me, and the ER also charged me for helping even though I ended up resetting my own shoulder. So we're not going to get into all that. But I did fix my own shoulder after doing a basketball shootout and walking 5 kilometers and an obstacle course with a dislocated shoulder. And yeah, if that's not a story about perseverance, I don't know what is. Granted, at the time, I didn't know that I was persevering. I just thought I was being Weenie Hut Jingers, and I was like, it's not hurting that bad. But it is a reminder to take care of yourselves, everyone. If you're hurting and you need help, don't forget to reach out. There are those who will try to help you. And sometimes there aren't those people there, but you can always come to me, and I'll help you. Yes, we might use a little bit of the darkness to help out, but isn't that better than living with the pain? Yeah. I love it here. Thank you all for listening to this long NecroLore. Next week, we will be going up against Vepsis, and I will be looking forward to getting revenge on him just like I did on Wednesday, so be sure to come back for another battle in the Pokemon Premier League. I hope you have a wonderful night in the meantime. And good night.